So today we're going to be making what I like to call Cheater's blueberry pie. Sometimes you don't have the time to make everything from scratch. You just got to do the best you can. So I do have my homemade pie crust. I'm going to insert the video for how to make that. Super easy. You can make it and freeze it ahead of time. We need 2 cans of blueberry pie filling. We need some dry beans and we need some parchment paper. Now what we need to do, because this pie filling is already cooked, we need to pre-bake the bottom of the pie shell. But I don't want the bottom of this to puff up. I also don't want it to leak. So instead of poking holes with a fork like you might see online, we're gonna line it with some beans. But because I don't want the beans to stick to the pie crust, we need to line it with this parchment paper. So I'm gonna take some scissors and cut this down to the size of the pie plate. I have the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I've got my parchment inside the pie plate and I'm just gonna dump the beans like that. I'm going to spread them out so it'll weigh it down and the bottom of the pie crust won't puff up. Now I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to trim the top of this parchment because we want this pie crust right here, this part, we want it to get golden brown. I'm going to bake it for about 10 to 12 minutes until it's nice and cooked through. So this is what it should look like before it goes in the oven. This is what it'll look like when it's done. I'm gonna get the beans out, throw the parchment away, and then we'll get started with the rest of it. So I've got my second half of the pie crust out, put some flour on my countertop, and I've got my rolling pin ready. I'm gonna roll this out to the shape of the pie dish so that when I put my pie filling in there, it's just ready to go. Okay, the pie crust is rolled out. I've got my 2 cans of pie filling ready to go, and I'm gonna see how much is going to fill the pie plate. I do not want to overfill this because I don't want it bubbling over and burning into the oven. So after I pour this in here, I'm gonna let you know how much I used. I used 1 full can plus almost another one. I left about 1/4 or 1/3 of it in there. This is what mine looks like. I wish you could smell my kitchen. This smells amazing. Now I'm gonna lay the second pie crust on the top. I'm gonna pinch it all together and I'm gonna use a knife to vent the top so that the steam can escape while it's cooking. There's our pie ready for the oven. You can see the slits that I made to vent it. I'm gonna start baking this at about 22, 23 minutes. I'm gonna check it every 5 minutes. Because the under pie shell is done and the pie filling is cooked, all we really need to do is get it nice and bubbly in the middle and cook the top of the pie crust. I brought the temperature of my oven down to 375. I have a gut feeling that 425 is too hot, so I'm bringing it down. There she is, fresh out of the oven. I would say that I baked it about probably 38 minutes. It smells amazing. Looks amazing. That's gonna be awesome. So my plan is to let this cool off and then I'm going to wrap it up really, really well and freeze it in time for Thanksgiving.